Hello, welcome to StudyG. Today we'll be discussing about the microbes in sewage treatment and about the sewage treatment plant, how it works. The major components of wastewater is human excreta, and these excreta usually contain a large amount of organic matter and pathogenic microbes. So hence we cannot directly put this into the water body. So hence they need to be processed in such a way that these pathogenic microbes are removed. Coming to the organism, there are naturally heterotrophic microbes which are present in the sewage. So we use these microbes to treat the excreta. So there are three stages of sewage treatment. One is primary treatment. Second, we have secondary treatment. Usually, if we are using the water for drinking purposes, we do the tertiary treatment as well. Now coming to the primary treatment. So actually primary treatment involves physical processes only, where we remove large and small particles through filtration and sedimentation. So in the sequential filtration, what happens? We remove floating debris. Remove the floating debris by using fine mesh. So the wastewater is passed through these meshes which filter out the floating debris. Next we have sedimentation. In this, the grit is removed. The grit consists of soil and small pebbles. So these are removed through sedimentation. So the sewage which undergoes these two steps, it is called as primary effluent. So we can write it this way: the sewage undergoes primary treatment to form primary effluent. Now this primary effluent is sent out for secondary treatment. Now coming to the secondary treatment. Secondary treatment is also known as biological treatment. So what actually happens in the secondary treatment is the primary effluent is brought into the aeration tanks, these large aeration tanks, where they are constantly agitated so that the air is passed into the primary effluent. So what this does is it allows the aerobic heterotrophic microbes to grow vigorously. So as mentioned here, primary effluent is passed into large aeration tanks where it is constantly agitated mechanically and air is pumped into it. So what this air does is it provides suitable condition for this aerobic heterotrophic microbes to grow. So flocks are the association between masses of bacteria with the filament of fungi to form mesh-like structure. So as flocks are formed, these flocks, they feed upon the organic matter which is present in the primary effluent. So here in the image we can see this is the aeration tank where the air is being supplied constantly, and this will allow the growth of the heterotrophic microbes. Now what happens? The flocks, they feed on the organic matter. So due to the feeding, what happens? The BOD reduces. So coming to BOD, if we have to define BOD, BOD is biological oxygen demand. So BOD is the amount of oxygen required to digest or oxidize the organic matter in 1 liter of water. So this means the amount of oxygen required to digest or oxidize the organic material in 1 liter of water by the bacteria. So from this, what we can assume that if we need more oxygen, that means there is lot of organic matter and hence the water is more polluted. If BOD is high, then the water is polluted. If BOD is low, then the water is less or not polluted. So now what happens, as these frogs feed on this organic matter, the BOD is ultimately getting reduced. Hence the pollution is also reduced. So now what happens, after all these frogs feed up on the complete organic matter, it is sent to the secondary settling chamber. This is the settling chamber where these frogs are allowed to settle. So what happens here is, the frogs are settling here. You can note here, frogs are settled. So these frogs is now called as activated sludge. These are called as activated sludge. So now what happens with these activated sludges, some of the part of the sludge is sent back to use as inoculum. To the next upcoming batch, we add a little bit of this activated sludge so that it could act as the inoculum for the primary effluent which is coming next. Now with the remaining activated sludge, they are sent to anaerobic sludge digester where they are again processed. We will learn that next. So this is all about the frogs. So if we have to define activated sludge, then it would be, so activated sludge is the sediment of the secondary settling tank which consists of bacterial frog. So activated sludge is the sediment of secondary settling tanks consisting of bacterial frogs. So now what happens in this anaerobic sludge digesters, the sludge or the frogs are digested by the anaerobic methanogenic bacteria. As the byproduct of the digestion, we get methane, hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide. So if you can remember, these three are the constituent gases present in the biogas. So it can be used as a source of energy. Well, now if you can focus with the figure, the sludge is coming through the inlet and the sludge is being fed by the methanogenic bacteria, and here the gases are rising, that is CH4, carbon dioxide, H2S. These gases are flowing out. The remaining sludge, which is a waste, it is sent through an outlet and it is mostly used as fertilizers in some cases, or it is directly disposed. The water is being used for drinking purposes, then we take it through a tertiary treatment as well. If not, then we will send the water directly to the water bodies after the secondary treatment itself. So this is a physiochemical process involving chlorine gas, ozone gas, zirconium, perchlorate salts, UV rays, and sometimes reverse osmosis, that is the RO which we use at our homes. So these processes are done to clear out, usually to remove DDTs, pesticides, pathogens, and some turbidity in the water. Then this water can be used for drinking purposes as well. Now if we had to summarize the whole sewage treatment plant in a single diagram, we could do this. So first, the raw sewage comes through the pipes, that is the inlet. Here it undergoes two types of filtration. Here we use screens, that is sequential filtration. Sequential filtration happens, through which floating debris is removed. Now we have sedimentation here, through which we could remove the grit, that is the soil particles and a little of pebbles. These are removed through sedimentation. Now this is called as primary effluent. Now it is sent to the aeration tanks. Again, here you can see in the diagram, they are mechanically constantly agitated to produce flocks in this, where the flocks consume the organic matter present in the water and reduces the BOD, that is the biological oxygen demand. See, the air compressor gives out air to the aerobic microbes which digest, and then they are sent to the secondary clarifier where they are allowed to settle. This is called activated sludge. Now some of the part is sent as an inoculum. Here we use it as inoculum. Next, here we do anaerobic sludge treatment. Where both the settled particles from the primary effluent and the secondary effluent are combined in a place and they are treated. Now the secondary effluent is either directly discharged to the surface waters, or it may undergo tertiary treatment if needed. So this is all about the sewage treatment plant. So next we have about river action plans. The Ministry of Environment and Forest has initiated Ganga Action Plan and Yamuna Action Plan to save the major rivers of the country from pollution. So under these plans, what they plan to do is they try to build large number of sewage treatment plants, so that before the sewage is discharged into the rivers, we can treat that sewage and then we can discharge them in the rivers, so that the rivers do not get polluted. So actually the Ganga Action Plan was initiated in 1985.